Most of these have burned down to a point where they don't really burn well anymore. And candles are expensive, so I don't really want to throw out the wax. So I saved these pieces of wax, and we recast our candles. I'll show you how. In the past, we've tried double boilers and those little electric pots that heat up, but they're all messy and time consuming. But we've come up with a pretty simple way to recast candles that saves us a lot of money. A heat gun seems to be the fastest way that I've found. First, I want to get this wax out. So I'm just going to heat up its vessel. Less than a minute later, when the edges have melted, you can see that the wax freely moves. It's easy to separate. Now I just add this wax to my crucible device that I made here. Of course, you don't have to make anything this elaborate. For the longest time, I just used a piece of stainless steel with a coat hanger. And this works great too. When you locate this piece in the candle, try to save this metal disc. Because you can get replacement wick easily, but there's no reason why you can't reuse these. I'll show you how in a minute. Now I'm going to heat up the crucible until the wax is nice and liquid. It goes pretty quick, a lot faster if you use stainless steel. Give it a stir to help it along, but the whole process really doesn't take more than 2 or 3 minutes at the most. It's pretty simple to reuse these. They're smashed shut in order to hold the wick in. But if you just take a small trim nail like this and pound it through the back side, it'll open it up again. Then just insert your wick. And clamp it shut again. In order to make the mold, I'm going to use a 2-inch inside diameter piece of PVC pipe. I cut it to about 2 inches. Also, I'm going to use a piece of aluminum coil stock for the base. Throughout the process, I'm going to be using this mold maker wax, and what it is just a paraffin wax mixed with toilet bowl ring wax until it makes this nice soft consistency that's easy to work with. I'm going to start by putting a little mold maker wax on the bottom here and then just pressing it onto my base. Next, I'm going to coat the inside of my mold with mineral oil to act as a mold release. I'm not really sure if this works, but it seemed to work pretty well the last few times. Mineral oil is just liquid paraffin, so it's harmless in either case. Now I just center my mold on the base and secure it so that it's nice and centered around the wick with some more of these little blobs of mold maker wax. Once you've heated up a vessel to get the wax out, make sure it's not too hot to handle, but when it's just nice and warm, excess wax and black residue comes off really nicely. Now I want to add a little over 1/4 of an inch of wax to the mold. This will help keep the wick in place and just seal around the bottom of the mold. I'm going to let these cool completely. That way when I fill the entire mold up with wax, it doesn't move the wick around. Now comes the fun part. Don't bother filling it all the way to the top, because as it cools it's going to shrink. If you choose to accelerate its cooling by sticking it in a refrigerator, it's going to shrink even more. so you're probably going to need to add a little wax either way. Using a refrigerator to force the cooling might be useful to get stuck candles out of the mold sometimes, but in this case it's going to be easy. So I'm going to let it air cool. Now that it's cooled completely, you can see just how much it shrinks. I'm heating it just until it's shiny, just so it has a good adhesion between the old wax and the new wax. Without a doubt, my favorite part is stripping the mold. So let's see how this turned out. Oh, that came out really nice and easy. There it is. Now you just want to cut the wick to 1/4 inch, and it's all done. You can use your different colors of wax to produce different results. This one has a gradual blend from one color to the next as I gradually diluted by adding wax. Well, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you found this useful.